Danger Vision was briefly mentioned in the Bad Webcomics Wiki forum in a topic, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, it's Super Death Show 37, and this is page 216 of Danger Vision. So every now and again, I'll look at my traffic stats on my website to see where everyone's coming from. Since I'm a small fry in the webcomics Sphero's verse, I don't get a whole lot of traffic, and I don't get a whole lot of refers. Usually it's from my Twitter, or my Tumblr, or my Tapastic page, things like that. Things that I usually put out there for people to come in. But every now and again, I'll get this random burst of visitors from a website that I haven't heard of, that somebody else had mentioned the comic on, which totally excites me when that actually happens. So when it does happen, I gotta go see what these guys are talking about, or how it was mentioned. I just keep forgetting to actually talk about it. But a few months ago, it was mentioned on a forum called the Bad Webcomics Wiki Forum. It sounds like Bad Music Zombies Forum. That sounds awesome. But at a second glance, Bad Webcomics Wiki Forum, yeesh, that's a long title, and it's not good for me because it's bad webcomics. I'm a bad webcomic. But anyways, I go to the link, and the topic is titled Lazy Fight Scenes. And the topic was started, I think it was in February this year, when I did the 10-page update for the chapter ending, was it chapter 3? Chapter 2? Chapter 3. When I did the chapter 3 update, where I updated 10 pages all together. Kind of a celebration. I got my phone. So I go to this page, and I'm scrolling down, and they're talking about some webcam stuff. Lazy fight scene. First off, they're talking about the Meek webcomic, which I'm excited to just be mentioned in the same topic as the Meek, even if it's for having a lazy fight scene. Danger Vision's only mentioned in a couple posts, so I'm just going to go ahead and read those posts. Here's another fight scene I take some issue with, and it's the page where Nas is fighting Dr. Sexy Bones right after Nick gets her arm bit off by the book. If you read the webcomic, you'll recognize that page. The user is the Crazzle Jams. He says, in this one, it's easy enough to tell what's going on. The main issue I have is that it completely lacks any sense of weight or movement. Also, I feel the comedic elements are a little too out of place. Considering the previous page, the main character's aforementioned girlfriend just lost an arm. It just seems like the author wanted to cram as much as he could into one page, ignoring maintaining a sense of flow between the pages. Also, if I were him, I would have moved the last panel to the next page. Now, looking back at this page, I can totally see what they mean. No sense of movement, because the characters are pretty much standing in the same spot. It looks like Nas is getting ready to charge, and it's going to be exciting and stuff, but he blocks it, and they're still standing in the same place, a close-up for some reason, and then they're just standing there flailing. The characters don't move around a lot. It isn't very actiony once you look back at it. They're just standing there swinging their arm. As for the comedic elements feeling out of place, I don't think this person read all of the comic, because it's kind of just, it can happen anywhere type of deal. References are just stupid jokes, but I can understand that if it were less jokey and a little bit more dramatic, it probably would have impacted better. It just seemed like the author wanted to cram as much as he could into one page. I'm bad for that, because sometimes I want to cram too much into a page, and then sometimes I don't put enough into a page. Like, sometimes I have 2-panel comics with one dialogue bubble, and that's your update for a week, because I couldn't figure anything else. So it's kind of like stalling, but sometimes I just feel like this is a great idea, and I want to make this page work all together. What this all boils down to is that my entire comic is written on the fly. Like, I write the page on a Friday, I draw it on a Saturday, and I upload it on a Sunday. That's one of the big problems, is that it's all just made up within a day or two, and there's no real flow to it. So sometimes I'll come up with this idea, for the one page to pay off, it all has to be on that one page, like the whole idea, and sometimes it's just too many panels, like 7 panels on a page. If I were him, I would have moved the last panel to the next page. It should have been on the next page. It would have looked better on the next page. I just didn't do it because I don't know what I'm doing half the time. The next user, simply named Goat Avatar, I like it. He says, oh yeah, wow, I would have never known the context of this fight was so dire. For all the more work it would have been, this would have done better with the final panel on the next page, as you say, but perhaps expanded into a montage of the kid trying to land slick blows onto the scientist dude, and each one getting dodged, blocked in different ways. That probably would have been better, but it would have been more pages to draw those. But I guess it wouldn't be hard to draw. It's just a bad string of choices that I made. Showing some full-bodied, rage-fueled moves from him will bring back the sense of weight and movement to both parties, and at least makes the kid look like he's putting up more of a fucking effort into it. Dude just literally disarmed your girlfriend, and you're standing there in one place flailing your sword at him. And that's exactly what happened. He's not a fighter. He's not an experienced fighter. The next person, the Crazzle Jams again. Exactly, this scene needed to be fleshed out at least 3 or 4 more pages, and I don't want to hear time constraint as an excuse, because this scene was followed by 3 3 pages of the main character and his girlfriend falling, so clearly the author can make a decent action scene. He just cut a big corner. See, my problem is I see these things in my head as an animation, and sometimes I have a problem with translating these head animations into pictures, and it just doesn't work out sometimes. A lot of times, most of the time. And the last time that my comic is mentioned in this thread is by Cindy. I think he wanted to emulate those cartoon sequences where 2 people duel by slapping each other with multiple blurry appendages. It just doesn't translate well into comics. And followed by the following sequence, ... well, ... At least this is a good thread on what not to do. Looking back on that update, everything seems really obvious when you're actually looking at it and people are talking about it. I wish these people would talk to me about it, because I love talking about it. Even the things that I screw up on, or things that just isn't great or is pretty terrible. I like talking about comics, and I would have liked to have been included in the conversation, because I wouldn't do much defending, because what this all boils down to is, like I said before, is where the comic is completely improvised, and I have no sense of timing or pacing. It's hard it's hard to explain. Anyways, altogether, when you get to see posts and criticisms like this, it's great, because you get to know what you're doing wrong, and the things that they don't mention, you can just assume that you're doing it right. When I'm not actually in the conversation, that's how I feel about it, because I wasn't in that conversation. I didn't get to talk about my comic with these guys. And I really do appreciate it, though. Like, it's really awesome that Danger Vision's being talked about, at least at this short amount of time here. When the topic was originally about the Meek, I got 3 posts dedicated to Danger Vision, and I would actually like to see more of that, to let me know what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. Mostly what I'm doing wrong, because people aren't going to talk about when somebody does something right. What I actually have a problem with is positive criticism, because I don't know how to react to it. Like when somebody says, hey, great page, hey, I really like your comic, hey, your art looks good, or hey, I really like that video, it was helpful. I don't know how to react to it, because I feel like I don't have the confidence to actually believe that I've got an okay comic, or that the comedy is okay, or the characters are fun, or the art is good enough to be looked at for more than, you know, a split second, or that the videos are actually helpful. So when somebody says something nice to me about the comic or something, I feel really weird, because I really don't know how to react to it. I just feel awkward. I've started saying thank you and thanks for reading the comic, and when I do, it just feels like I have a template made out and I'm just posting this thing to people, or I'm just saying like a predetermined recording or something, and it feels really weird to talk about. Like, it's easy right now because I'm just talking to a camera, which in turn is actually talking to you guys, but that's what I have a problem with. I'm fine with people saying that the comic needs this, or you missed an apostrophe here, or it's in the wrong spot, or you misspelled this, because that's fine. I can change that. That's easy to change. Or, you know, like on the thread that I just read you, that fight scene was really lazy. You cut some corners. The character stood in one place. What was all that arm flailing about? I can remember that for next time that I do a fight scene, whenever that may be, or the next time I do an action scene or a dramatic scene, which that never happens. It's a stupid comic. But I can remember those things. I can keep those, you know, in my head, and the next time I do that, I can keep those things in mind. And when I make the page out, or when I plan the page, which would be the day before I draw it, I can keep those things in mind when I'm actually kind of trying to think of what's going to happen next. Oh yeah, the page that you're watching right now is Nick has a big explosion behind her because I'm sorry, Clone Nick, or as Frank likes to call her Click, Clone Nick, but she's got a big explosion behind her because in the page before this she pressed a button and that big tricked her into pressing, and it exploded behind her. Hopefully it wipes her out. Who knows? Which you probably already know because this video's a week late. Sorry about that. I had to work like 14 hours a day for the past 14 days. I haven't had a day off to actually do this video. When I draw it, the video's recorded when I draw, and all I gotta do is just shrink the video down into a time lapse. But the big thing that holds off these things is actually making these little commentary video things that you guys seem to be okay with, instead of just a music backtrack in front of the time-lapse video, because that's great and all, but I imagine that once you've seen one time-lapse video of my comic being drawn, you've seen pretty much all of them, because I do them all the same way. I just imagine that you're coming back and watching the rest of these videos because I'm talking about stuff. So I'm just gonna keep talking about stuff. And that's why this one's late, is because I wanted to wait so I could talk about this particular criticism thing. So anyways, back to the comic. Sorry about that tangent. This page actually took me an extra 2 hours. Like, when I got done recording it, I noticed it was 2 hours longer than my normal pages, because I'm focusing a little bit more on backgrounds, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I kind of jump on and off the backgrounds, and I'm going to try to stay on it a little bit longer this time, because it feels like it makes the pages look nicer, and I want them to look nice for you guys. That's all I got to talk about on this one. Hey, if you guys want to, if you want to be critical of the comic and just tell me it's totally terrible, or you hate Nick's design or something like that, I want you to say it. But if you guys want to talk about the comic, if you read my comic, if you want to talk about it, and there's something that just doesn't feel right, or I did this page wrong, it could have been better if I did this, then it's totally cool, guys. Just talk about it down there, and I'll see it. I know I don't comment back immediately, because I'm usually at work, and when I don't have our phones out at work, and when I get home I'm really tired, and then I'll forget about the comments, and then I'll hit your comments all together, usually all at once. I'll reply to them all at once. So, but yeah, please, constructive criticism, bad mouth of the comic, anything you want, just talk. We'll talk about it. I like talking about it. Don't say anything good, because it makes me nervous. Okay, that's for real. This is the end of it. On the next video, we're going to talk about bad music, zombie stuff. Do you like posters? We're going to talk about posters next time, I guess. Hey, thanks for watching. You guys are super cool. Thanks.